It's Beat Temple week. We're going to talk about that. Plus, the Sooners got a commitment here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show, a Hog Media production. That is Coop. Coop, I'm Jay. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening. Wherever podcasts are downloaded and listen to while you're here. Please wipe your feet, like, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Go ahead and give us 5 anyway. And gift it. So, on today's episode, presented by our partners over there at Sleeper. Make sure you download the Sleeper app and check them out. So we're going to talk about a commitment and kind of what that means for recruiting going forward. We're going to talk about the rat poison that's been flowing all over the place. And then we got to beat Temple because I got questions when it goes into this game. Coop, happy Wednesday. Thank y'all for pulling up. All y'all know this is a pre-recorded episode because Coop has a job and we like to make sure that this man, pays his bills. How's it going, man?
Jay, the voice is almost back
Yes.
from being out there on Saturday. And this is the only part about college football that I really don't like. It's you got to wait 7 days to play another game or wait 6 more days. And so, I would hate to have a bye week this week, after a big win, after a big loss, like it's hard to have a, bye week and just sit on it. So I'm ready to get out to Philly and see some more action.
Oh, no, I'm 100% with you on that. Like if you checked out the other channel where I just talk ball for the fun of it, I love football season. It's my favorite time of the year. And week 1 of college football typically doesn't have a lot of fireworks, but we had it this time. We had it because, you had some big games. And then week 2, we had our big game. And now week 3, like you said, you got 7 days. NFL is a little different because to me, week 1 is more so I'm just so giddy that I'm just like a kid on Christmas. I'm opening everything, but I'm not playing with anything, right? I'm just opening bags, just opening. And then I have to sit down and be like, wait a minute, what did I just watch? I have to actually dissect it. But college, because 100%. I'm more obsessed with college and the nuances of it, especially for Oklahoma, and we cover Oklahoma, I dig into that early, and then I just get so engulfed that I start forgetting that a lot of other stuff that I need to pay attention to. But I digress from my long rant here. We got a couple more days. We got Temple on the road, and that's, of course, an interesting one for the uninitiated. We've talked about it before, but for the uninitiated, this was put together back in like 2016 or something like that. Back when Matt Rule was the head coach of Temple. And Temple won like 10 games underneath him. So, of course, it makes sense to do a home and home with Temple when, Matt Rule's out there winning 10 games. But Coop, Matt Rule ain't there no more, and Temple might not be that good. But we'll dive into him in a minute. But first, Coop, we got a commitment. 2027, DeMar DeZern, wide receiver, roughly 5'11", 170. The comp that I've heard the most about him has been Hollywood. Talk to me. What you think about this pickup?
Everything about this commitment is fast. It happened quickly. It's this is Emmett Jones can speak this, and now that you've got 2 weeks of proof. Last year was a fluke. Obviously in 2023, wide receivers balled out. A lot of momentum happened there. And so this year, while you are showing Satania, you're showing the playmaking abilities of Deion Burks, my man Keontez Lewis. And so you got some of that on film. You can show these types of things to DeMar, and he got to see it, game in, to where not only we're going to use you and use the assets that you bring to the table, but at the same time, we're going to, let you get to, I guess freestyle a little bit, with the scramble drill, passes out to Satania and Burks, just using the speed. And so, yeah, the bigger Hollywood Brown comp is awesome. Jay, dude ran a 10.32 100, and then ran a 21.04 in the 200. So he is fast. And this weekend was a big recruiting weekend. I mean, you and I were talking about it at the game. I was like, if somebody runs out the back of the end zone, they're going to run to about 100 recruits because there were lots of folks out there. And so pretty excited about this because now you potentially are going to have a quarterback coming on. You're going to have an offensive lineman. Now you're starting to get some skill positions too. This class is going to start with these continued successes. You're going to see more and more of these guys come through. So DeMar gets to get in, get his slot taken. Pretty excited about this speedster.
Exactly. We to me, and I kind of talked about this with John on Locked On Sooners this morning, but I think I really want to hear your thoughts on this. The commitment, of course, was fast. We were in his top 5 like a few days ago, and he made the visit. I feel like the Deion Burks emergence in that game against Michigan, 7 catches, 101 yards, got that dude's attention. At least that's what it feels like to me. He saw the deep catch that he had on the fade. He saw Satania's catch, which Satania's not the biggest dude in the world. He's about 5'11", 5'10", 5'11-ish, right? And then Burks getting that little, pop pass across the middle and dipping in. I think he saw those possibilities and said, oh, yeah, I think I can do that. Even though we haven't seen KJ Daniels or Zion Ragen really yet this year, we probably won't see him at all this year. They'll probably both kind of be shelved this season. But, yeah, I think he saw those and was like, oh, yeah, give me that. I can do it. What you think?
And, I mean, why would you not? At this point, you can show him film from, what what Drake Stoops was doing and just that capability of the slot. You're seeing the usage of both of those guys has been, supreme. And, like we said, when you're coming out of the Michigan game, it's not like we even hit all of the open options. Like there's other concepts that, they could have probably sent DeMar's way and said, man, imagine if you were running this route and John, or the quarterback sees you at this one. I mean, this is the space that you're going to be working with. And so having DeMar come in, he's going into he's starting his senior season, or is it junior season right now? And so with starting the junior season right now, I mean, this guy's going to mature body-wise. The change direction is there. Typically, like when you go back in the, I guess the archives of really, really fast receivers, some guys, that's their only asset is just speed. And they use the speed. Well, once you get here, and especially in the SEC, playing some of these non-cons like a Michigan game, other dudes are going to be that fast too, or close to that fast too. So you got to have a little bit of wiggle. You got to have some, ability on the route running. I like his return game option. I would say that getting more guys who can do some stuff in the return game is very, very crucial for us, just in the long term, because that's the one thing that we'd probably say in the Michigan game is that's still a need, is having something like that. But you had Satania back there doing the punt returns, so you can point towards Burks, point towards Satania, and say this is how we use guys like you. And he got to see it on the biggest stage that there was. ABC showed that it is the most watched game in quite a while, and so pretty exciting stuff. Another dude out of Cali. Emmett gets those dudes out of Cali pretty well.
Yeah, Stacey Ford was a big part of that. He was a UCLA director of like recruiting or one of the personnel guys. So he was able to leverage the relationship he's got out there. Good pickup. I'm very happy that we snatched him up. 27 is probably going to see an avalanche. Peyton Houston got himself a future cast or prediction from Fong over there. So I kind of anticipate that's going to be another one. So
very much.
Good stuff. Good job, Emmett Jones. Let's just see one of his players that he brings in develop into something and actually go out there and dominate. We know he will at some point. We're just waiting for it. So thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. New to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5. Let's talk about this rat poisoning. Before we do that, though, let's shout out to our partners over there at Sleeper. Think you know football? Well, try and turn that football knowledge into real money with the Sleeper app, the ultimate fantasy sports app that can turn game day into payday. Just download the Sleeper app and pick more or less on your favorite players. different stats with like passing, rushing, receiving, etc. touchdowns. And with more stats than any other daily fantasy app, just choose 2 or more of your favorite players from pregame or live, pick more or less from the predicted stats, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money if your pick wins. Use promo code UNFAIR and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. All right, Coop, you were talking about this before we got in here, and it definitely does feel like the rat poison's being placed in our lap. Oklahoma is now the media darling. John Mateer is that media dude. Everyone loves everything about Oklahoma all of a sudden. And we know how we feel about it when people love Oklahoma all of a sudden. We showed up and showed out for game day. Exactly as you expected.
Yeah.
Are you concerned about the rat poisoning going into this game this weekend? And we kind of overlooked. Actually, real quick, before I even point that out, for those that like them T-shirts, like your boy, my nephew built me some mock-ups of an Encore Tour shirt for each one of our games and our Revenge Tour shirts against Alabama. Oh, well, not we got the Encore for Alabama and Auburn because we own the state now. But we're getting revenge against LSU, Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Missouri, etc. So check out the merch store if you want a shirt to rock at the games. He hooked me up with some drawings and some creativity. So we got our Encore Tour Tigers in Auburn. It takes about a week to get in. So if you order it now, you'll have it for the Auburn game. Link is in the description below. I also have it tagged all out this video. But Coop, like I said, rat poisoning is flying all over the place. Talk to me. How you feeling? And what you think the Sooners need to do to prepare themselves for it?
I'm to the point, Jay, to where it's almost 2024. You just don't point back to that anymore. That's there's things that you can't make adjustments from 2024. You're not going to have to make the adjustment from the poor quarterback play. You're not going to have to make the adjustment for all of the injuries. You're not going to have to make the adjustment for just, first year in the SEC. Now you are starting to become a little bit more of the hunted. People now are going to start taking you serious. And I think Brent Venables and the coaching staff can point right back to 2023 and say, guys, we got to handle success. All of this looks great. All of these things start to look great. You've got guys who, like our boy Josh Pate, showed some love, showed some hype for the Sooners, and, then didn't have him, have them ranked very high, had them going 8-4. Well, now all of a sudden he's got them as a top 10 in his rankings. Other folks got them in the top 10 in the rankings. You can point back towards that 23 season and say, listen, a lot of people doubted us. We rolled into into Dallas. We took them out, and now we had this situation where we didn't finish out the season. And so all this hard work goes to nothing if you can't continue it. And so it is 1 week at a time. Start the week one. You got to go 1-0, 1-0 every week. Going out to Temple, he can point out the fact that, hey, these guys, this isn't like just a punching bag that we played last year. Like, these guys are putting up some numbers. You got to say Auburn's going out there and showing out some numbers. And, so you're one week at a time, but you're going to have to take every single one of these things, very, very seriously, because it's not Michigan's victory means nothing on Saturday this week. Nothing.
Fair. It for Saturday it does not. I agree, but it feels like it was vindication for a lot of not only us but even some national people. A lot of people have pointed out. No, I think Oklahoma's going to be really good because they didn't have a problem on defense. Their problem was 100% the offensive side of the ball just being inept. And if we can get that rolling, put the proper quarterback coaching out there and everything, you're going to see them be successful. And it's starting to show that. That Michigan game was a great example of it to me. Like, I understand the rat poison, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of rat poison going around for Oklahoma. But I think the one thing that you get out of this Oklahoma game was that, the defense is legitimate. if the offense just adds to it, they could be really good overall. And like you could tell, I'm gonna be honest, I don't feel like we did everything. We didn't play our best football against Michigan. Like you said we had like a B minus C plus game. I'm higher. I think we played a B game, probably a B plus. I think the turnovers hurt us. I think the offense needs to get rolling a lot more, but I think that we can do that. I think that that's something. I think we have growth. We have space to grow. You're not here and you're not just done. Let's put it that way. So, yeah, the rat poison's pretty strong. You got to be careful. It was good to see us get a W in a game that we really needed to have, because that W, to me, really, it like I said, it vindicated a lot of us that said Oklahoma was going to be good this season. So going into this one, though, for Temple, we need to start looking at what does this team need to do to maintain that momentum past this Auburn game, right? Past the Auburn game into the bye, Kent, and then Texas at Red River.
Jay, I shared it in our Discord, and I took the Temple game from last year and the Tennessee game, and I looked at the snaps on defense. And in Temple and Tennessee last year, our defensive players, they played 137 snaps. So far through weeks, kind of similar situation against, in game 1 and game 2, we're at 102 snaps on defense. And why is that? It's because you had more of a complementary football game. The offense was able to do some things with the ball. And Jay, it could have been in the low 90s, I think, without some of the, without the extra first downs we talked about on Sunday, without those penalties and everything. So I think going forward is take every snap seriously, because if we can carve out and stay in the 47, 50 range on snaps on defense, it keeps those guys fresh. Last year, we saw times where they got tired because they were out there so bloody much. And so you keep those guys fresh. You keep that situation right where it's at, and this defense is going to be able to last, because that's the big thing is, can the defense continue this type of production? Well, Jay, if they're running 20 snaps less per game than what we were doing last year, yes, we have a deep defensive line. We've got a deep defensive back room. We've got deep safeties. But linebacker still, with Heineke's, kind of emergence, gives that a little bit more depth. But it just is going to help for the entirety of the season and keeping the defense fresh, letting them play that aggressive, just 100% take the fight to you and put you on your butt every single game. And and you got to take it seriously at Temple this week too. Get in, get done, don't play with your food, and then let the offense go, get more gelling from the offensive side. But I think that's key number one for me this week is don't play with your food. Get out there with the same intensity and get off the field.
That's the hard part, is not playing with your food. But that's a very underrated stat there, the fact that we played 20 less snaps than last year on the defensive side of the ball. I don't think a lot of people understand just the magnitude of that, Coop, because that means your bodies are fresh. And I think even funnier with that, who's played the most snaps this year? And I think I want to give some awards of underratedness out there for this. So for the people, Coop, who has played? Do you know who played the most snaps so far? I know you've looked, so I want to know if you can remember off the top of your head right now.
I think it was Peyton Bowen.
Close. Cortland Guillory.
No.
Now, we all know we have been hyping. We've been gassing this dude up. And I'm not going to stop gassing this dude up.
Oh, no.
He's played 93 snaps so far this season.
Okay.
He's leading the way. He literally is not coming off the field. Granted, his rush, he's do a little better on his tackling and rushing, but the thing is, the good thing for him is, and that's in the run game basically, the good thing for him is that most of the passes that come his direction don't really catch, so he doesn't really have to worry about tackling people. He's making sure the pass is knocked down. But he's played the most snaps so far at 93 snaps. And yeah, we need to continue to gas that up because I'm ready to see who's going to keep challenging him. And you've mentioned this before. At some point, they're going to stop. They're going to realize that it makes no sense to do that because it's kind of like borderline suicide to do that. But I want to talk about another player that we've been waiting for his emergence, and yeah, he's gotten he's starting to show us a little something. Before we do that, we've got to give a shout out to Sleeper real quick. Are you using the Sleeper app for daily fantasy sports? If not, you're missing out. One of the best apps out there for daily fantasy sports. Sleeper's got all the stuff you're looking for. Plus, they always have some great promos. So, like, for example, we've got some games on Thursday, tomorrow. You've got Jaden Daniels out here. There's a promo for him. You can get him for 0.5 yards. So he can be, of course, your first great pick. You can do baseball. You can do college football. Let's see what's in the college football world. I'm thinking about landing on, let's see, give me a little Gunnar Stockton on the less with this Tennessee game. You know, we'll swap that promo because we're going to do it for the weekend. And give me Joey Aguilar going over on the passing touchdowns. I think he can get 2 on Georgia. And if you think you can do that, pick 2 players more or less on whatever their stats are, passing, rushing, receiving, etc. You just pick 2 or more players. Put it in there, and if you hit, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Yeah, turn that knowledge into $signs. So check them out. Use our promo code UNFAIR, and you will get a 100% match up to $100. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. So Coop, it's time to go ahead and show some love to somebody that deserves it. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5. So the most snaps played so far has been Cortland Guillory. We talked about that. That's pretty darn good. 93. Second on the list, though, is the guy you said, Peyton Bowen. 89 snaps. Right behind him is R. Mason Thomas at 86. Kendall Daniels at 81. Robert Spears-Jennings at 76. And that's granted, it's probably because of the first game. But the good thing is, in the first 2 games, it's Cortland Guillory and Peyton Bowen playing the most with R. Mason Thomas. And grading-wise, I always tell everybody, take the grades with a grain of salt on how they do it. But the data is always fantastic here. Peyton Bowen out there balling, man. I am so happy to see that his athleticism is starting to show more. We're getting the Peyton Bowen experience that we were hoping for, Coop. We're getting it.
It's when you bring in a 5-star, you have to see 5-star game. And especially when across the country, when you see guys like Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith, you see the hype that some of those guys were getting last year. That's what you want from these 5-stars. And, there's always the tongue-in-cheek 3-star U with OU. And Nagy didn't have anything to do with a PJ Adebaware and a Peyton Bowen. But in year 3, both of those guys, PJ hasn't shown up in the sacks yet. But PJ has also, he's also. So we may have to talk about him in a second. But Peyton, that was the big thing, is number one was the health. He's healthy. As of right now, he's still out there. He's still balling, but he's showing that elite, instinct. He's showing that those elite traits, the speed, the athleticism. And so when those things start coming through for Peyton, he's in the right spots. And he's also he's the old head out there on the defense too, really because is. Everybody else in the secondary, Robert Spears-Jennings is also, the old head out there too. But Peyton was almost at the like, is not a bust, but he wasn't living up to it. So now we haven't had a lot of passing, we'll see it more, Jay, as we start coming through, because you start working with leads. Biggest thing again, in the past couple of years is, when you don't play with the lead and you don't put their offense into predictability, it's hard to really line up and get after the rush, on the pass rush. And also with that comes, it's hard for them to toss up prayers in the middle of the field. And I have a feeling that as soon as we start getting that situation, you're going to see some Peyton Bowen magic and, live up to some of those preseason, clips from last year where he's picking off the ball one-handed and, picking up the ball. He's had interception on the sideline. You're going to see some more Peyton Bowen creativity and disruptiveness in the passing game too. But he's been hitting run fits really well. Dude's balling.
He has been, man. I'm happy to see it. We wanted that vet to give us that. So adding him, like I said, PJ starting to see some snaps, and I'm happy to see the snaps that we're getting out of PJ. He's getting disruptive. We've got 27 pressures so far this season, and so the defense is really doing their job, hurrying up the quarterback at 19. We need to bat more balls down. That's the one thing I probably think we need to do a lot more is we need to knock some more passes down, especially at the line of scrimmage. We're getting way too much pressure to not be knocking down more passes at the line, but it's okay. The entire unit is just causing issues. They're wreaking havoc in the way. And so, of course, we're throwing more rat poison out there on the people. But I don't think y'all understand just how excited me and Coop both are, because we've been talking about, Bowen. We've been talking about how we're just ready for him to emerge. We need the healthy version of him, and he'll ball. Gentry balled. It sounds like he has maybe a little strain growing or something. So I'm sensing that he's probably going to be back. Closer to probably Auburn. He should be back at the Auburn game. I haven't heard any full updates. I don't even think BV mentioned anything on injury reports, but we'll see injury reports on the actual week of Auburn, because that's when we have to do them. So you'll get a Wednesday update to start. You'll get a Thursday, which we probably won't have it on it since we pre-record these Wednesdays. Like I said, because Coop has a job and he's very responsible and I'm not. But Thursdays we may end up dropping something to talk about what's on the injury report. We'll get that Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I think the last one comes right before the game typically. I think their deadline, because that game is at 2:30, so we actually have a time for that one. That's actually something to talk about too. We'll talk about that at the end, last segment.
Jay, before you continue, I want to touch base on the passing situations. Right now, OU has held quarterbacks 19 of 40 passing. They've completed 10 in game 1 and 9 in game 2. Sorry, that's 44. 19 of 44. So you're looking at, well under 50% completion rate, and why that's important is the ball hasn't been in the air very much. A lot of these passes for Underwood and for Rittenhouse and the backup in week 1 have been out wide. There hasn't been very much downfield. And even one of the completions was the miracle completion, the David Tyree style catch, and that one you just go, hey, well played, my friend, well played. You're 6'5", you got back up over the top of the safety. I think RSJ has his hand up. That ball's incomplete. But needless to say, OU's passing completion, percentage, this is what you're wanting to see. Guys aren't completing 60% of their passes. And so with that such, low passing statistics, it's hard for this defense to get interception numbers. And I know that's been a question that some people have been talking about is but we haven't really had any picks. Jay, have we had any opportunities yet? I don't even think we've had any opportunities.
It seems like they're a little nervous about throwing the ball on us. Have you noticed that? It feels like their teams don't want to throw it in the secondary, the linebacker. Could it be that ginormous human being in Kendall Daniels is roaming around the middle and people are nervous about it? The fact that, because he was third in snaps, he's fourth, 81 snaps so far. Just him roaming around has people nervous about throwing it. They're trying to find little pockets, little zone busting plays to be able to get it over the top of people, and they've gotten it. We've missed on some of our depth. That's where new people in the scheme as well as young players come into play. But yeah, Coop, they have not been able to do the things that I know that they want to do. They can't go over the top like they said. The catch by McCulley was very acrobatic. He caught it on RSJ's helmet, on the back of his head. He pulled that in, which was a dope catch. Can't beat that, 44 yards. But that was really it. What else did you get out of him in the game? You didn't get much else because we were so busy terrorizing the quarterback. Most of his passes were bad. He was getting hit and throwing it to the ground. So You're not mad. I mean, he had 91 yards on the day. What's that? 3 catches, 91 yards with the 44-yarder. Yeah, McCulley was supposed to be one of their top receivers. That was expected. They lost Klein, so he didn't play in the game because of that ankle, and it's rightfully so. I don't think you want that tight end trying to go up against the middle of our pack. But yeah, you're not seeing teams throw for the most part so far. We'll see, because Evan Simon, the quarterback over at, and let me pull that up now. I'm actually going to put these stats up as we speak about it, because I think he's probably one that's worth giving a little bit of attention. Hold on a second. Got that here. Perfect. Let's pull this up. So shout out to my guy Stats by Popo. He puts a lot of this stuff together. I have one similar, but he does a really good job. He's very fast with it. But that's actually from Michigan. Why do I have that? I wanted Temple. Sorry about that. I grabbed the wrong one. But I digress. Temple actually has a solid like passing attack overall. They've scored 90 something points so far this year. Now, granted, they played Howard and
Massachusetts
and UMass, the Minutemen. I forgot that they still had a football team. Not gonna lie, I always forget about that. But they're not bad. They're not awful. And I've noticed the spread has actually been the spread has been dropping. It's like 21.5 now from like 25 to like open. Yeah. 24 to open. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, they did not play with their food last week. It looks like Simon only went 8 for 10. Only 8 for 10, 3 touchdowns. He's got 9 touchdowns, no interceptions so far this year. But again,
said only 10.
That's indicative of the competition. But these guys, I saw some of the clips from their coaches, the clip from Simon. They're talking the talk. They're talking with some confidence right now. But the old adage from Mr. Michael Tyson was everybody's got a plan until you hit him in the mouth.
Exactly.
And I think that there's going to be some mouth hitting snap one.
Yeah. Oh, we definitely are. They've got 507 yards passing so far on both games, which, again, I'm not saying Temple's a world beater, and I'm not trying to gas them up, so y'all calm down. I'm not doing any of that. What I'm pointing out is they have been taking advantage of their opportunities on the football field, and they've been playing, like a team that's been playing against, not really good competition. Strength of schedule here, right, is, 134th. So they haven't been playing the best teams. What they are doing, though, is they're getting yards. They're capitalizing on their plays. They're doing everything you're supposed to do when you're playing against that type of competition, Coop. They're not giving you BS play. They're playing football, and that's what's most important to me when it comes to this conversation is they need, if they weren't capitalizing on this, the spread would probably be around 40. But because they're capitalizing on who they're playing, the spread is sitting here at a light, 21.5 now, starting to move. Because more people are wondering, okay, well, if Temple can figure out how to get passing yards in this game, which is where they're strongest at. Actually, they're stronger in run, 520 running yards with 500 passing yards. They can figure out how to do that. They should be able to put some points on the board. We haven't given up a passing touchdown yet. We haven't got an interception yet, which is okay, but we haven't given him a passing yard. But Simon hasn't thrown a pick, and we saw Simon last season, Coop. He actually played in the game here because if I'm correct, Temple's quarterback kind of went down, or they just put him in at the end of the game last season when Stan Drayton was the head coach there. Their new head coach now, and BV talked about this in his presser. He's a solid coach. He's well respected. Yeah. I think he won 2 national championships in FCS on 2 different teams, the only coach to do it. So he knows how to coach players. Now the question is, can he do what Matt Rule did there at Temple and bring them back up to a double-digit win team, which technically would lead him to end up probably getting another job opportunity at a bigger program. So far, he's putting him in the right direction for that. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, and From looking at the offensive line, these are not going to be any 280, 275 pound dudes. Like, these are guys up over 300 pounds. They're seniors and juniors. You got some. I mean, you got some confidence going on, and confidence is a big thing. Now, like I said, you got to play until you get punched in the mouth, and obviously the competition's going to accelerate quite a bit. Temple is going to be looking at Georgia Tech next week, so it's not even like they can really just get too excited and focus everything on Oklahoma this entire season. They've got let's see, it's Oklahoma, Georgia Tech, UTSA, and Navy. So they're going to have some opportunities to play with some big boys here in the next couple weeks. I have a very, very good confidence that in just looking at the game film, looking at the play-by-play, they want to get out and they want to try to run. And so that's something that they're going to want to try to do. And if there's been an opportunity area for teams right now, they're going to be looking at OU's run defense, and they're going to say, this is tough, but big play opportunities are there. So I want that to kind of everybody keep that in mind. They're probably going to come out. I see Simon's got 12 rushes for 55 yards. So he's going to get involved in that. We saw last week with Underwood, there was a play that I expect other teams to try to employ, and it's where they have all direction going one way. They boot out the back way, and they have a layer concept on the backside. And our defensive backs and safeties had not done a great job in communicating on who's going to go after the quarterback and who's going to stay with the receiver. So we saw 2 passes of that caliber last week, and then I think 2 the previous week too. So you get that cleaned up and you take that option away. But that also starts with the edge staying out there and doing his responsibility and not crashing too hard. So they're going to try some things. They're going to try some of that running game. They're going to try to do those things. They're probably going to get the ball out of his hands pretty quickly. I know that with Underwood, it was out under 3 seconds almost every single pass. And so as far as the OU offense or defense, get in there, make your tackles, and keep your discipline. This is going to be a faster-paced offense. Michigan did a lot of huddling. You heard Gabe and Teddy talk about that a lot. So we'll see a Temple offense that's going to go a little bit faster. So get the calls in, handle your assignment, and move on to the next play. That's really where OU has been a big strength. I said they only had one time. I guess the best 2 back-to-back plays last week was an 8-yard gain and a 12-yard gain.
Yeah.
So it's not like after big plays, we've given up other big plays. And in the OU defense of the long time ago, once a big play happened, it seemed like everybody just kind of crumbled. And these guys are able to kind of reconvene and get their heads back on straight after big plays so far this season.
That's exactly the big thing. And so when we look at switching over to the offensive side of the ball, thank you for pulling up. Hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. Yeah, our defense gives us a big play, and then they reconvene and get back to what they're supposed to be doing. And they go back, they lock back in. We just got to just get rid of the silly penalties, the running into punters, the face mask after you stop somebody on 3rd down, hands to the face or whatever. Those little things we've got to stop. Stop shooting ourselves in the foot when you stop a team inside their 10 yards, which it's just things to clean up. Every team has things to clean up, and luckily our things aren't detrimental things. They're just things that's going to make us even more effective as a team. We have nothing we've done so far has been quote-unquote detrimental to us. We got to eliminate that. But this is where you're going to see us really have to shine and do more, right? Strength is, the strength of schedule on the defensive side is not that high. Neither was Temple's, but we need to go out there offensively and dominate. I need to see a John Mateer 400-something yard game again. I need him to go for that, passing for 3-something, running for 100, and then get him out of the game by the 3rd quarter if possible. You need him. He's going to have to run up some stats in this game. This is one of those where we should be able to. We also need our run game to get us. We need a 100-yard rusher in this game. I think that's the one thing that I want. I know that Illinois State, we didn't really show much because, our focus was get in there, leave healthy, prepare for Michigan, and be really prepared for a team that's going to be a challenge in that. We did that now. Temple now, plays are out there. You can run the same Michigan offense game against Michigan against Temple and go out there. I need you to run down their throat. I need to see us get the offensive linemen get the chemistry going. I need to see some good blocking. I need to see some holes open. I need some running backs who hit set holes, and I need them to go. We need a 100-yard rusher in this game. If there's anything that I hope for and expect, we need a 100-yard rusher, and that's literally the only thing that I'm pushing for. Like I said, I want John Mateer to do his thing. I need him to, continue pad them statistics in preparation for his Heisman campaign, because he's already basically doing it. He's doing doing interviews. You got everybody talking about him. He's the voice. He's the name that everyone is hardcore all about. I need him to put up his numbers here, do them, not even quietly. I need you to be loud with it and then get out the game. But I need the run game to really be the dominant feature in this one. The more dominant we are in the run game, I think the more comfortable I'll be when we go against Auburn. Because keep in mind, Auburn let Sawyer Robertson throw for 412 yards against him.
Yeah,
it's a very good chance we'll be able to throw for a lot of yards against Auburn. Their run defense is going to be the big thing, so they'll probably be just going all in on stopping the pass, which means Mateer's just going to run all over them, and similar to what we saw what Jackson Arnold did to Baylor. I just would like us to go out there, throw some bombs, hit them on get some busted plays, get some wide open dudes, score some touchdowns. But for this game, it really is going to be on the run game to me.
And I think there's going to be a lot to it that you've got your 5 now. You know who your starting offensive linemen are. You know who these guys are going to be. I want to see those guys continue to grow together. And, that's going to be Fasusi. He's getting a lot of attention now, but he's still going to be the freshman. That's still going to be the area that, they're going to want, that people are going to kind of focus in on. Across the entire, formation, I think that you want a 100-yard rusher, Jay, and you don't want it to be John. Now, if John gets loose on a scramble drill and goes for 60 or something like that and ends up a 100-yard rusher, I'm fine. But I just don't want to see him close to 20 carries this game. Yeah. I want to see, X-Rob. Hopefully, we have not heard anything on Blaylock yet. And so I don't know if we actually will, before. I know a lot of people were wondering where the depth chart was going to be coming out last week. And I think since it was a non-SEC game, we didn't have to. That will have to come during Auburn, but this also, again, not an SEC matchup. So we probably won't see that thing. So my thought process is you're going to see Blaylock, you're going to see Ott, you're going to see Javonte. I'd like to see X-Rob get out there. Don't know where Tatum is, but I want to see guys, close to across the board, close to, a high 4-5+ yards per carry type of an option. I want to see some of the mixing, listening to Gabe and Teddy. They were running this medium zone concept that they were running on. And I think that they are seeing a lot of success with that. And Jay, I'm not going to lie. I would like to see like 5 I formation runs this week.
That would be so much fun.
I mean, just give me so 5. Just when I saw the I formation, I slapped you. I'm probably too hard for the situation, but I slapped you. I was like, "That's I formation."
He was excited. And, Coop was pretty giddy. Like he was very giddy about seeing the I formation.
I mean, how many times have we been sitting in this stadium together over the past couple years, and we got a 3rd and 1 or a 4th and 1, and we're back in the shotgun, and then everybody's like, "Oh, I guess going up under center was not something that we should even think about." And, we saw that against Michigan, of all teams. So I'd like to see the running game, like you said, Jay, go after it. Number one, you just want to get in. You want to get this game taken care of, and you want to get out. I do think that there's going to be some pizzazz that Arbuckle and Venables are want to kind of employ. I think that we want to see a big like 55-7 type of an opportunity, get the national attention. It's not a letdown game coming off of, the big win. Again, go 1-0 this week, get that rushing attack, fully employed, because the rumbles will not go away if you go out and run for 145 yards total.
Exactly. Everybody be quiet if we did that. So, Let's wrap up. We'll give our predictions for the game. We'll also talk about the schedule changes. 'Cause I think these schedule changes are kind of critical. Before we do that, give one more shout out to our people over there at Sleeper. Think you know football? Well, try and turn that football knowledge into real money with the Sleeper app, the ultimate fantasy sports app that can turn game day into payday. Just download the Sleeper app and pick more or less on your favorite players. Different stats with like passing, rushing, receiving, etc. touchdowns. And with more stats than any other daily fantasy app, just choose 2 or more of your favorite players from pregame or live. Pick more or less from the predicted stats, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money if your pick wins. Use promo code UNFAIR, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. Coop. We'll wrap up with our prediction for the Temple game, what the score is going to look like. We'll even give y'all some stats that we think may actually happen. But we got to talk about some changes in the schedule. And I thought this was be a great way to wrap up everything. As you can see here, we have a time for our game against Auburn. It's going to be a Crimson out. So please make sure that you rock your Crimson. It is, 2:30. We get the prime SEC time slot. How you feel about that?
It was in flex. I think we were looking at it as, I don't know if it's necessarily a dead set, like you can't do it, but I mean, I think there's still a small chance that you could have game day back in Norman for this game. But now maybe not so much. There's a couple other games across the country, and they want to spread it out and get it in different fan bases. But 2:30 is going to be good. I don't like as much as I love the primetime games, Jay. I don't like waiting. I don't like waiting for so long, and so I'll be going to the game, and I'm going to be pretty excited. I want to see that tailgate game continue to improve and be really, really good. I want the Auburn fans, when they come in, I want them to feel kind of what I guess our fans felt who traveled, and you went to Auburn last year, and but it's SEC football, it's state of Alabama football. They're pretty excited right now. Jackson Arnold has ran the ball like a big running back in game 1, and then last week threw for 3 touchdowns. There's a lot of people probably going to kind of be cautiously optimistic from the Auburn side of this, and hopefully Jackson Arnold doesn't have too many nightmares the week of that game. But Brent Venables, he knew where he had to take away some of the pressure on Jackson, and this is going to be our first really big test with wide receivers on the other side that can do something. So midday game going to be a good one.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Like I said, Crimson out. It's going to be beautiful. I know some people weren't feeling it, but I really liked the stripes.
I did
Michigan
too.
Game. It looked great on television. The television presentation. It looked great in the stadium, of course, and seeing little spots of maize around. But I thought it was a beautiful presentation on television. It looked great for national television. Let's put it that way.
Very much.
It's kind of like the checkerboard at Tennessee. It looks awesome when you're on television. That's, to me, the appeal, and why I'm hardcore about us making sure that we do it in sync, because it just looks really, 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 really good whenever we're doing presentations on television. So it just makes it pop more, and with that, it allows for fans to understand what it's like being a Norman. So make sure you rock your Crimson, get excited for that. Let's wrap up. What's prediction that you have for Temple? Give me your score. Give me some random stats that you think is going to happen.
I already kind of slipped the score. I see a 55-7 type of a game. I think this is one that you get the running game going, in flow. You don't want to just bang your head against the wall. Like, you want to try some different stuff, but you also want to work on other concepts. I mean, your preparation is for the season and for success for the season, not for the pleasure of the fan. So if Arbuckle goes out and you don't see a lot of just ISO, let's go run the football and just stick to it and fully commit to it and just bang our head against the wall, don't be surprised. Like, we're going to set up what we want to do long term.
Yeah.
Now, I do say there's so many open opportunities that I think that if Mateer had just a half a second longer, he would have been able to hit some, big passes downfield, also get some air on some other passes that he may have rushed. I don't want to see any flea flickers or anything like mechanic this game. Flea flickles. I don't want to see any of those this week.
Flickles. I love it.
I want to see I just want to see you set up for your base concept plays, run the layer routes, run a lot of the vertical routes, and get guys involved. I think that we're going to keep scoring. Whoever comes in as the backup quarterback, whether it's Hawk or Neubauer, whenever they get in, they're going to keep throwing the ball. They're going to keep on pressing that issue. And so, I do think that they're probably going to at some point, get a drive together or get, positive field position or even something against the backups. I think they're going to go that. This is a proud offensive team right now in Temple, and they're not going to give up because it's not like they're going to wind down for conference play. Like I said, Jay, they got Georgia Tech, UTSA, and Navy coming, bang, bang, bang. They're probably going to, want to try to show people that, hey, we can even do it against the big boys of Oklahoma. So Tulsa, East Carolina, we're coming for you. 55-7.
You. That's a good point. I'm here at the 40 to probably 14 mark. I think we do cover the spread. I think we get some big plays. I expect actually the run game, like you said, to really give us some numbers. And my thing with the run game is my anticipation is they're going to try to figure out that in this game. That is the goal. We're going to figure out how to get this run game established. We're going to run it. We're going to run it. We're going to run it. John Mateer, I think he'll get at least 200 passing. I think he may eclipse 100 yards rushing. I think it's going to be a big scramble. He's going to run and just be gone like 80 yards. That eclipses most of his yards on the ground. That's what I'm anticipating. So I'm pretty excited about what we test in this game. This is, to me, feels like one of those games where you put, as much crap together as you really, you feel like as you play around. So, all right, Coop. Final thoughts? We're going to let the people enjoy the rest of their Wednesday evening.
Yes. Also I expect early in the game, we'll probably start seeing some of the mix in of Elijah Thomas, maybe seeing that wide receiver rotation kind of loosen up a little bit. I know week 1, a lot of people wanted to see Elijah Thomas based off the offseason, kind of chatter. Could we see Javonte Gibson this week for a couple snaps? We'll see. But I think some of those rotations will loosen up. We'll get to see some guys get some snaps, but chemistry is still number one. So whatever the coaching staff thinks that we need to do to have a very successful entirety of a season, I'm for that.
All right. Well, we'll go with that. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. Shout out to our presenting sponsor, Sleeper. If you think you know football, put your knowledge to the test. If you think you know sports in general, put your knowledge to the test. Go ahead and download the Sleeper app. Use our code UNFAIR. Get a 100% match on your first $100 deposit. Promo code UNFAIR. Me and Coop will see all of you Sunday. Of course, I'm going to continue to drop videos out throughout the week. But we'll talk soon. Peace.